Good day, G.I. Joe fans. Show Motion Videos 82 here. It's time for another G.I. Joe toy review. Today I'm bringing you one of my favorite Dreadnoks, 1984 Zartan version 1 and his swamp skier, Chameleon. Zartan was released as part of the third series, packaged exclusively with the Chameleon swamp skier. He was on the shelves through 86, from 84 to 86, and was discontinued domestically in 86. My Zartan is not complete. If you can see, he's missing one of his knee pads, which they're pretty notorious for falling off and getting lost. His pistol I am missing as well. I substituted it with the pistol that came with the accessory pack. I'll go into that later. Also his mask. I apologize for not giving you a complete figure, but I just kind of wanted to stray away from that just for this one review, just to show that, you know, as collectors out there, you know, that do reviews, we don't necessarily have it all. I'd certainly like to have everything, but you know, I'll do a review today without. Zartan, pretty much all of his accessories are easily lost or broken. His chest plate, his knee pads, backpack, etc. Finding them on the aftermarket does come at a premium, because it is so notorious for losing these things. And his knee pads are not ambidextrous. It's one specific for the right and there's one specific for the left side. So if you want one of those knee pads, you're going to pay a little bit more for it. But if you want a complete figure, it's completely worth it. As you know, Zartan came with a color change gimmick. I'll demonstrate that here in a minute. The Chameleon also changes color. I didn't have Zartan as a kid. He was one figure that I always wanted. I want to thank my friends at Gotham City Comics for providing me with Zartan and the swamp skier. That he adorns my collection very nicely. All right, here I am outside. I'm going to, if I could even see my screen. It is stifling out here, so I'm going to make this quick. See if the Chameleon and Zartan change colors. And yes, they do. You can see that the breastplate is hiding that, helping hinder the sun change here. Just pop that off, and we get to see it change. That is pretty cool. After all these years, he still turns colors. Flip them on over. I like it. All right, back inside. It was a nice hot 109 degrees today in Arizona. Okay, as you can see, Zartan is back to his normal flesh tone, and the Chameleon is back to his lime green, I guess. Okay, let's take a look at the sculpt and articulation of Zartan. Go over the accessories pretty quick here too. Zartan's arms extend out so far. His shoulder armor is hindering. Rotates at a 360 degrees. He has a swivel arm battle grip at 360 degrees. Head rotates side to side. He has an O-ring that loops around on the inside to help hold him together. His legs extend out so far, spread out so far, and knees bend at 90 degrees. All right. Okay, Zartan's accessories, I gotta be careful. I just cracked his heel, trying to get him on that stand. Set him down. his accessories, he came with this black backpack. If you can see it, mine does not lock anymore, but you open it right up. There was a mask that fit on the inside. You could see, I don't know if you could see it in the light, but he has some fake mustaches off to the left, on the left-hand side here. Looks like a makeup brush, some makeup containers, and some more fake mustaches. He also came with a contents card called a laser pistol. This is not anything of the real world, completely fictitious. He also came with this box in which you could disassemble the Chameleon and have Zartan haul it off as junk. But when we talk about the Chameleon here, as I mentioned before, you could disassemble it. I'm not going to completely disassemble mine because there are some weak points on it that I want to point out, but the skids fit on the box there. The weak points with the Chameleon, the handlebars right here, they're made out of this very soft plastic. They have a tendency to shear off, and as you can see here, the front skis are starting to break, just from rotation and soft plastic, just wear over the years. It caused it to break down. But he could cart that off and pretend that he was never seen. He was never around. Zartan wasn't there. All right. Now there are two versions of Zartan's file card. I want to go over those real quick. The first one, which I have here, I have the original, the first variation that came out in '84. The first version makes reference to Zartan being schizophrenic and has multiple personality disorder. After Hasbro received complaints misleading people into thinking schizophrenia and multiple personalities are one and the same, they changed the second version. And I really don't think... those are some pretty serious illnesses, folks. If you suffer from, or you know somebody who does, they're not pleasant. And they shouldn't be made lightly, made fun of, put on a file card. But I'll go ahead and read the file card. Zartan, it says at the top, Master of Disguise, codename Zartan, file name unknown, aliases too numerous to list, birthplace unknown. Zartan could alter his skin color at will and blend in with his environment. He is also a master of makeup and disguise, a ventriloquist, a linguist of over 20 languages and dialects, and he's an acrobat, a contortionist, a practitioner of several mystic arts. Very little is known of his background and origins. He sounds like he worked with a circus. And most security agencies will agree that he must have had European military academy training, probably St. Cyr. Let's see, bottom paragraph, psychological profile, extreme paranoid schizophrenic, grows into multiple personalities in such an extent that the original personality becomes buried and forgotten. That bottom part was cut out as aforementioned, and for good reason. Things like that shouldn't be made lightly of, as I said, and shouldn't be added to a toy. Children have a tendency to think that their toys are real, and you wouldn't want a kid going through his toy box thinking Zartan's going to come after him. Okay. All right, Zartan made a great many appearances in the G.I. Joe media, from comics down to trading cards. He made his first appearance in the Sunbow cartoon. I believe he first appeared in a 5-part miniseries, The Revenge of Cobra. That's all I was able to find with my research. I'm still fairly new at these reviews. Please bear with me. I'm learning all the research points. Okay, Zartan is made up of all new body parts. That in 1986, his upper arms were shared with his brother Xandar and sister Zarana. His head was reused to create version 3, Zartan version 3, in 2001. His skin was made out of a thermal sensitive material that changes in the sunlight, as we had mentioned before. Xandar and Zarana have that same ability. In the cartoon, sunlight robs Zartan of his camouflage abilities. It was an unusual side effect with him that his torso was sonically welded. He didn't have the regular screw to hold him together, so that it was sonically welded. Same with Zarana and Xandar, but he does have the if you could see it, a hole in his back for the screw, which makes it hard to repair him when his O-ring breaks. I had to repair the O-ring with this one. What I had to do was undo the screw and gingerly insert the screw into the hole here, or a screwdriver into that hole, and gingerly pry them apart. Zartan was sold in Europe boxed with the Chameleon and packaged as Action Force. And later on he was sold in G.I. Joe packaging. In 1986 in Japan, Zartan was released carded as an individual figure. Then in 2001, Fun School released their own individually carded Zartan. There are 22 versions of Zartan. He's very popular. He looked completely different from this figure when the first G.I. Joe movie, The Pursuit of Cobra, came out. Zartan is a deluxe figure. I completely agree with that. He is just awesome. Like I said, I really wanted him as a kid. I was just enthralled by his color-changing ability. Getting him with the Chameleon, that was an added bonus. I mean, it was a cheap little vehicle. I don't remember playing with it with my friends very much. It was just kind of there and thrown off into the into a corner somewhere. I like the Chameleon too. Let's go ahead and get Zartan fitted on there. Try to be careful not to break him again. He just fits right onto the handlebars. The Chameleon does not float. That is a given. Just pretend he skims across the water. The original manufacturer's recommended price for Zartan and the Chameleon was $4.25. And you paid for a single carded figure $2.25. So you get them in a really neat box. You get all these extra accessories, color change plastic, and a demeaning file card. For $4.25, which wasn't bad. I remember mowing lawns as a kid and get about $5 or $6, so I could have bought them, but I preferred the carded figures because I could get more for my money. So just wrapping it on up. Zartan, I'll give him a 10. Scale 1 to 10, I'll give Zartan a 10. He is pretty cool. His accessories are great. His color scheme and sculpt are fantastic. I mean, he just looks like a tough guy. He has that Gene Simmons paint on his face. And the man wears a hood. Come on, how mysterious can that be? I remember arguing back and forth with my friends about this being a hood or hair. We couldn't quite figure it out. But, I'll give him a 10. I mean, he's the biker guy, has his boot knife. So, yeah, 1 to 10, I'll give Zartan a 10. As for the Chameleon, scale 1 to 10, I'm going to have to give it an 8 because it's a cheap vehicle. It breaks easily. There are many parts to be lost. But what rates it high with me is the color changeability. And, the front part of this does look like the head of the chameleon lizard. The male lizards have the horn that juts up from the top. So, they gave it an appropriate name. So that is my review of the 1984 Zartan and Chameleon. I hope that you enjoyed this review. If so, please give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down's fine too. I take all sorts of criticism, especially if you have tips on what you would like to see and hear on my videos. I'm open for suggestion. Please subscribe to my channel. I also put up some stop motion videos too. I'm working on one here with another figure that I'm going to review this week. Please leave a comment below if you so choose to. I'd love to hear from all you, even if you want to share a memory about Zartan and his chameleon. That would be great, or any of the Dreadnoks. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and thank you very much for dropping by, and happy collecting.